Hey, what's going on, everyone? My name is D. Anthony with Evolution Traders. In this video, we're going to be covering the NASDAQ 100. We're going to be talking about if it is almost time to start putting on those short positions. Where is my bias kind of leaning a little bit more towards? Now, again, the market has, for the past 4 or 5 months been on an absolute rampage, right? So I would say that over the past 4, almost 5 months, my bias coming into the day has been around 70 to 75% long bias. What that means is I'm looking for those washouts. I'm looking for those gap downs. I'm looking to buy, the NASDAQ or the options that I'm trading into rising support. I'm looking to bounce them off of demand. I'm looking to take out previous day high or pre-market high or first hour range and go long. About 75% of the time. Now, as of right now, where we stand on the second, my bias is shifted a little bit. It's a little bit more, neutrally weighted at around 50-50, right? Could this be the start of a rolling top? Maybe. There's a couple of things that I do want to point out here in the NASDAQ 100 chart that are still bullish, right? So again, today at one point in time, we did get below this 20-day moving average. Now, if we kind of go back to the left of the screen here, you can see every time we've come into this 20-day moving average, we get a nice bounce. 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 So again, could we be looking at a little bit of a dead cat bounce? It's entirely possible. Again, one level that I definitely would mark out or set an alert for is going to be today's lows. Okay, so today's lows are sitting at 18,201. If we do start to confirm today's lows, I would be looking for price targets to touch 18,100. That's going to be this daily linear regression channel. Now, again, to give the bulls credit, even though today we lost a 20-day moving average, they were resilient, as they have been the past 4 going on 5 months, as you can see with the daily wick here that we kind of closed on. So we got back up over this daily 20-day moving average. Now, the NASDAQ market right now is in a full-on distribution, okay? So distribution is the correct term. You may hear traders say chop or consolidation or so forth and so forth, right? The correct term is distribution, right? And what distribution means is that the market is just simply figuring itself out, right? It's not really building upon a previous day high. It's not really building below the previous day's lows. Yes, we're getting these quick wicks over, under, but nothing is really kind of holding out. We're kind of just simply trading with inside this range. And if you kind of look at the range that we've been trading, it's been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days since we've come off those highs of 18,709. Now, I want to make one thing very clear, okay? The longer a chart, it doesn't matter if it's futures or options or equities or crypto or Forex, the longer a chart stays in distribution, especially on a higher time frame like the daily chart, the bigger the move is coming out of that, okay? So that's why right now my bias is a little bit more 50-50 when it comes to, what I'm potentially looking for. And what that means is I'm open to taking both sides of the trade versus the past 3-4 months. I've been more looking for the long-sided trade, okay? Now, with that being said, this is the kind of way I'm going to be looking and approaching the market each and every single day. What I'm going to do is if we do get some type of gap up or some type of big extension in the pre-market, I'm going to ignore that. Okay. I'm not going to get caught with my pants around my ankles chasing a move in the pre-market or off the open to fall victim to a trap. What I would be looking for is to see if we do get rejected at supply and see if we roll down through a previous day low or the pre-market low. I will only be interested in getting back to the long side if we can confirm the opening range on the 1 hour time frame. The same rules are going to apply to the short side. If we have a nasty washout and we're 80 points, 100 points, 150 points in the red come market open, the last thing that I'm going to do is chase. Okay, I'm not going to chase that short position. Instead, what I'm going to do is see if the buyers and see if the bulls can trap those early sellers and see if we can catch that reversal back up to the upside. Again, I'll only be looking to short if after the opening hour, we start to confirm that range on that opening hour print. So with that being said, couple of levels that I want you guys to kind of, keep in mind is going to be today's highs. Today's highs is sitting at 18,500 and the lows are sitting at 18,200. So we've got a big range here. The range is sitting at around 300 points. So as long as we are trading with inside this 300 point range, everything in between on a smaller time frame is just that. It's in between. So what you need to do, especially if you're a day trader and a scalper, is not necessarily think that just because you have an amazing setup that aligns with your strategy, that it's going to run all day and it's going to pay out 50 points, 100 points. The motto is this, okay, until we get out of this distribution cycle: get in, get green, get out. What you're really looking for is to see us confirm today's highs or lows. Now, again, if we do confirm the lows, we have another support system sitting down here at around 18,100. So even that's not a whole lot of range, but at least it's 100 points to kind of play with, that you can kind of understand that if you do get in on that short position, you could definitely make some money. The same thing to the long side. What you would be looking for is back towards these previous 5-6 days here. Where have we been getting rejected? We've been getting rejected anywhere from a price of 18,500 all the way up to 18,650. Okay, so if we do start to take out today's highs, you've got maybe 150, 200 points worth of upside. And again, make sure you clean out those positions. And we really want to see us get that close back over 18,626. And that's going to pretty much tell you that we're going to start a new leg higher. Now, when you start to look at this daily chart and you start to really analyze it, the bulls are still in full control, even though it hasn't felt like that, or even though the market's not surging higher. Maybe you haven't made as much money as you've been making, the previous weeks or months or so forth and so forth. Just be patient and bear with the market. Not every day your strategy and your setup's going to provide an edge. Okay. Sometimes it does and sometimes it doesn't. And sometimes it does provide an edge and it doesn't work, right? So it's generally in a market cycle like this is where traders tend to chop themselves up a lot. They tend to start switching strategies because whatever they've been doing is not really working right now. Again, guys, just because you have a strategy, it doesn't mean that it's going to be 100% each and every single day, depending on market conditions and the cycles. You have to just bear with it, right? One day, okay, one trade can make up a whole week's worth of gains. Just like one day, one trade, one bad mistake, one emotions flying out the window can definitely ruin 2, 3, 4 weeks worth of amazing work that you've done. So if you've been managing to make money the past month, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, what I'm going to tell you right now is don't start pissing it away just because you can't seem to get something going. Be patient. Again, look at the chart. Everyone can see the same data. Okay. So what I'm looking at on my screen is the same thing that you can see on your screen. The candlesticks, they're going to align the same way. The prices are going to be the same. Nobody's pulling the wool over anyone's eyes here. Big pullback since 18,709. You can see big pullback, right? It's been a choppy pullback. There's been setups for scalpers, both long and short, but overall it's been a pullback. Now, are we getting to the tail end of that pullback? And are we going to start to punch up to the high side and really explode? If we do, I would be looking for price targets as high as 19,000. Right? If we don't, if we come back up to this range and we start to get rejected once again, back up in here in this 18.5 range, and we start to roll over, one big level that I'm going to be watching for is this 50-day moving average sitting at 18,000. Any close or any start to build below 18,000, the narrative completely shifts. Okay. Now it's going to go a little bit more 60-40 to the sellers, to the bears, because whoever's in control of the 50-day moving average is generally in control of the chart for that month. And again, right now the buyers are still in control. Are all of the bulls completely stampeding and are they awake? No, but they can step in at any time. As you kind of seen today, we got a big extended move to the downside and the bulls stepped right in and got us back over that daily 20-day moving average. So these moving averages are very important. Again, moving averages are, lagging indicators, so to say, but price respects them. Okay. So again, just because it's a lagging indicator doesn't mean that you're late to the party. All it means is that previous price and liquidity tends to respect these areas in these zones. That's why when I'm doing my charting, I have all of the moving averages on my screen because I want to see who's really in control. Are the short-term buyers and sellers, fighting it out, or are the long-term buyers still in control? As of right now, long-term buyers and big money liquidity is still in control. We're over the 200-day moving average. We're over the 50-day moving average. But these shorter term traders, these short trend traders, are having a little bit of a battle here between the 5 and 20-day moving average, right? So we really can't figure out who's in control. And when you really can't figure out who's in control, of course, that's when you're going to get these big extended moves to the downside. You're going to get these big pops in the pre-market, and then come market open, the price does nothing. You're going to get this big flush in the pre-market and right off the open, and then you feel like the market doesn't do anything. Well, that's because there's a little bit of a distribution going on here. There's a little bit of a fight, right? There's a little bit of a snag. What's really driving the market higher? Nvidia's on a pullback right now as well. So instead of looking at the big Fab 7, the Metas, the Apples, and Netflixes of the world, you really want to focus on Nvidia, AI, tech, semis. That's what's really driving this. But it's not all semis. It's not all, chip stocks, right? It's not like it's MU or CLAC or, Qualcomm, QCOM, or AMD that's really driving the market. It's Nvidia, right? So the market, the NASDAQ as a whole, right? It's tracking the big ones, the big boys, right? The NASDAQ 100. Now, it doesn't mean, even though there's an equal weight and there's a little bit heavier weight on some of the names here, it doesn't mean that the NASDAQ moves and those stocks follow. What the NASDAQ is doing is following the movers and shakers of that specific cycle. And the specific cycle has been Nvidia. So what I want you guys to do is, when you're charting and when you're trading, throw up Nvidia's chart, whether you want to watch the daily, you want to watch the 1 hour chart, 5-minute chart, doesn't really matter. What Nvidia is doing right now, the market is doing. Now, again, is it going to move, point for point, tick for tick? Of course not. But if you kind of look at the overall body and the overall work that Nvidia has been doing, the NASDAQ has been following. I hope you guys enjoyed this technical analysis. I hope it gave you a little bit of an insight how to kind of, come into the days and approach them a little bit better. My name is D. Anthony with Evolution Traders, and I'll see all of you guys on the inside. I'll see the rest of you guys here on YouTube. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you do enjoy this content. It really helps me stay motivated to continue making the content. As long as one of you guys is getting some type of value out there, drop me a comment. Let me know that it helps you in some sort of way. That way I can continue to make these videos for you. And I'll see all of you guys on the next one.